What if a single penny from your childhood, forgotten in a dusty drawer, could be worth thousands today? And not just any penny, but one with a secret history from 1964. Stick with me, friend. Because the next 2 minutes might just change the way you look at every coin in your house. Let me take you back to 1973. A retired railroad worker in Denver was clearing out his late brother's belongings. Tucked away in an old cigar box, the kind you might remember your grandfather keeping stamps or cufflinks in, was a simple roll of pennies, wrapped in brittle paper. He nearly tossed them into a Coinstar machine, until one coin caught his eye. It looked like any other Lincoln cent, but something felt different. That little copper coin turned out to be a 1964 Lincoln penny, but with a twist. And that tiny twist? It brought him a 5-figure surprise. So what makes the 1964 Lincoln penny so special? Well, here's the deal. 1964 was the last official year the U.S. Mint struck pennies in 95% copper. After that, production shifted, and so did quality control. While the Denver Mint cranked out billions of coins, a handful slipped through with dramatic errors, like doubled dies, mistruck features, or even transitional metal planchets, rare blanks used from the wrong year. Show doubling in the date and lettering are struck on leftover planchets from previous years or have off-center strikes and die cracks that are extremely rare. And when one of these rare errors meets a collector, that worthless penny could sell for $5,000, even $10,000. One heartbreaking tale. A woman in Ohio brought a jar of coins to her bank in 1994. Mixed among them was a pristine 1964 double die penny. She never knew. The bank sent it off with the rest, bulked, melted, gone forever. Thousands of these coins passed through soda machines, lunch counters, and laundry rooms, vanishing into history because no one was looking. Don't let your memories, or your future, get cashed out like that. Want to know if you have one of these hidden gems? Here's what to look for. Look for mint mark, D, Denver, right under the date. Check for doubling in the words, Liberty, or, In God We Trust. Feel for raised cracks or odd textures, signs of a die break. Weigh it. Real 1964 pennies should weigh 3.11 grams, copper. Lighter ones might be modern or fake. Found something suspicious? Don't guess, get it professionally graded and authenticated through PCGS or NGC, two of the most trusted names in coin certification. Even local coin dealers can give you a quick evaluation. Just make sure they're reputable. You know that old jar on the shelf? The one filled with dusty coins from birthdays, grocery change, or your father's coat pocket. It's not just spare change. It's a time capsule. A whisper from history, and maybe, just maybe, a ticket to something bigger. Subscribe to Timeless Treasures. We help you find history hiding in plain sight, because sometimes, the past is worth a whole lot more than we remember. What if the penny you dropped on the sidewalk in 1967 could be worth hundreds, even thousands today? Not because of gold, not because of silver, but because of a tiny missing detail no one noticed, until now. Let me take you back to the summer of 1967. Picture a boy in small-town America. Let's call him Jimmy. He just bought a cold cola from the corner store and got a few pennies back in change. He stuffed them into his pocket without a second thought. Fast forward 50 years, Jimmy's now a grandfather, sifting through old jars in the garage with his grandson. They're dusty, forgotten, filled with loose change from decades past, and there it is, a 1967 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. Just a glimmer of copper in the fading light. Jimmy squints, chuckles, and says, "A penny's still a penny, right?" But oh, if only he knew. Now here's where things get fascinating. The 1967 Lincoln 1-cent penny was produced during a turbulent time in U.S. history, the Vietnam War, civil rights struggles, and economic shifts. To reduce costs and streamline production, the U.S. Mint intentionally removed all mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967. So yes, the lack of a mint mark on a 1967 penny is normal. But, some 1967 pennies have unusual die errors, off-center strikes, doubling in Lincoln's features or text, and even rare planchet flaws. And those tiny mistakes? They turn a common coin into a collector's dream. A pristine 1967 penny with a strong double die obverse, DDO, or unusual off-metal strike has been known to fetch hundreds to over $1,000 at auction. There was a woman in Ohio, her father had passed, and she gave away his change jars to a church fundraiser. Weeks later, one of those jars made it into the hands of a local collector. Inside? A near-mint 1967 penny with a dramatic misstrike, later appraised at $1.50. She found out from the evening news, and cried, sometimes, it's not just about the money. It's about legacy. About what we overlook, until it's too late. If you're holding a 1967 penny, check for these. Date must be 1967, no mint mark under the date. This is normal, not a flaw. Look closely for doubling, especially in the words, "In God We Trust," or Lincoln's face. Check for off-center strikes or missing rim edges, odd coloring or metal tone. It could be a wrong planchet error. Does it look unusually thick, thin, or oddly shaped? That's another flag. You don't need a magnifying glass from the moon, just a 10x jeweler's loupe, good lighting, and patience. If something seems off, send it to PCGS or NGC, two of the most trusted coin grading services in the world. Or take it to a reputable coin dealer, the kind who wipes the table before laying down history. That old glass jar in your kitchen, that rusty coffee tin in your dad's garage, they might just be holding more than coins, they might be holding a story. Your story. Don't let it slip through your fingers. What if a single penny from 1978, something you may have dropped on the floor, tossed in a drawer, or left in a forgotten jar, could be worth hundreds, even thousands today? You heard that right. A simple Lincoln penny with no mint mark might just be your hidden treasure. Let me take you back for a moment. It was the summer of 1999. A retired railroad worker in Ohio was sorting through a dusty coffee tin of old change with his grandson. Just a game, they thought. Until the old man squinted at a familiar face, Lincoln, dated 1978. No mint mark. He felt a strange tug in his gut, and decided to keep it aside. Years later, that same penny sold at auction for over $2,000. And the best part? He found it in his own home. These aren't just coins. They're memories, moments, and sometimes, miracles in copper. So why is the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special? Here's the truth. In 1978, Lincoln pennies were produced in both Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, marked with a D. But here's the kicker. Some Philadelphia pennies from that year have a very sharp strike, flawless surfaces, or rare die errors that make them stand out dramatically from the rest. Especially in uncirculated or high-grade condition, they've become highly collectible. Combine that with the fact that minting processes weren't as consistent back then, and you've got yourself a potential diamond in the rough. One man in Michigan told his story with tears in his eyes. He'd saved pennies from his childhood for decades. Gave them all to a bank during spring cleaning. Just a week later, he read an article. That very coin could have been in his stash. A $3,000 mistake. Folks, we're not just talking about money, we're talking about the stories we give away without even realizing it. Date must read, 1978, no mint mark under the year. That means it was minted in Philadelphia. Look for sharp detail on Lincoln's hair and coat. That means it's in high grade. Flip the coin. Check for any doubling in letters or numbers, called a double die. Edges should be clean and evenly struck. No heavy scratches or wear. If you think you found one, don't guess, get it graded. You can send it to trusted experts like PCGS or NGC for authentication. Many local coin dealers also offer free evaluations. That jar in your kitchen, the one sitting next to grandma's old recipe cards, it might just be holding your future. These coins aren't just copper and zinc. They're pieces of American history. What if a single penny from your childhood, just one, could be worth over $5,000 today, and you might have already spent it without knowing? Hi friends, I'm glad you're here. This is Timeless Treasures, where we chase history hiding in plain sight. And today, we're unlocking the mystery behind a simple coin, a 1980 Lincoln cent, with no mint mark, a penny that could rewrite your story. Picture this. It's a quiet Sunday in 2016. A retired teacher in Ohio is rolling up spare change to take to the bank. She's done it 100 times. But that day, she notices a strange penny from 1980. It's missing the tiny mint letter under the date. She almost tosses it aside, until a neighbor, a hobby coin collector, sees it and freezes. "You know what this might be?" he whispers. That little copper coin, worth 1 cent to most, was later sold for $3,900 at auction. It's not just luck. It's a hidden rarity. And that story? It's one of many. So, what makes the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so valuable? In 1980, pennies were supposed to carry a mint mark, a tiny letter under the year, showing where it was made. Most were struck with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But a very small number, by accident, were made at the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark at all. This was not supposed to happen in 1980. The U.S. Mint had added the P mark to nearly all coins that year. So if you find one with no letter, it might be a rare Philadelphia misprint. Now here's the heartbreak: a man from Kansas once had this exact coin in a family collection. He thought it was just another old penny. He spent it at a gas station, paid 99 cents and handed over his future. Imagine watching the news 2 weeks later and seeing your coin sold for thousands. Don't let that be your story. Here's how to spot the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Date: must read 1980 mint mark. Look closely under the date. If there's no letter at all, keep that coin back of the coin. Make sure it's the Lincoln Memorial design. Condition matters. A shinier, uncirculated one is worth more, but even worn examples can carry value. So how do you know if it's the real deal? Visit a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC, or take it to a certified coin dealer near you. Many will verify for free or a small fee. You can even submit clear photos online for a preliminary opinion. That old coffee can in the closet, the jar you haven't touched in years, it could be more than just spare change. It could be a story, a legacy, a forgotten treasure. So take a second look. Your next big find might be in the smallest place. What if the penny your grandson just dropped on the floor could buy you a car? Yes, a single 1984 penny. No silver. No gold. Just one tiny detail that turned it into a collector's dream, and most people never even notice it. It was a quiet Sunday morning in rural Ohio when a retired veteran named Walter was sorting through an old coffee tin full of pennies, the kind folks used to keep on windowsills and inside kitchen drawers for decades. He wasn't looking for treasure, just reminiscing. Then he saw something odd: a 1984 penny with no mint mark. It reminded him of when he used to take his kids to the corner store, back when a penny still bought you something sweet. He set it aside, thinking nothing of it. Months later, that same coin sold at auction, for over $10,000. So what made Walter's penny so special? In 1984, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia accidentally struck a small number of Lincoln cents without a mint mark. Normally, coins from Philly don't carry a mint mark. That's not the error. The true mystery lies in a rare variety known as the 1984 double die obverse, DDO, a rare misprint that causes Lincoln's face and the inscriptions to appear doubled. It's not just rare, it's breathtaking under magnification, and it slipped right past the mint's quality checks. Sadly, most people who found this coin had no idea what they were holding. Some spent it on a soda. Others gave it to grandkids, tossed it in tip jars, or even rolled it into bank wrappers. One man reportedly had 3 in a jar. He turned them in at the bank for face value, unaware he just let $30,000 walk out the door. Don't let that be your story. Should have no mint mark, Philadelphia. Look closely at Lincoln's face and, in God we trust, you're looking for a doubling effect. Check for sharp detail, especially the eyes, lips, and the letters, Liberty, all should appear slightly doubled if it's the rare variety. Think you've got one? Don't guess. Get it verified. Use certified grading services like PCGS or NGC. Visit a trusted coin dealer. Many offer free evaluations. Use a coin magnifier, not your phone camera. That dusty jar in the kitchen, the one next to the old recipe cards and birthday candles, it might just hold more than memories. It could hold your future. What if the penny you dropped in your father's old recliner 40 years ago could now be worth over $10,000. Yes, a single 1984 Lincoln cent, the kind you likely handed to a candy store clerk without a second thought, could now be one of the most sought-after coins in American pocket change history. And here's the kicker. You might already own one. Let me take you back to 1997. An old retired rail worker named George was sifting through a mason jar of pennies left behind by his late wife. Just a jar of copper memories, dates from birthdays, anniversaries, forgotten trips to the corner store, but one coin caught his eye. It was a 1984 Lincoln cent. Nothing fancy, he thought, until he noticed something strange about Lincoln's portrait. His jaw looked doubled. Curious, George brought it to a local coin show. Turns out, that little penny, caked in dust and sentiment, was a rare double die, one of just a few known to exist in such pristine condition that it sold later that year for thousands. And George, he used the money to take his grandson to Cooperstown, the baseball trip he never could afford as a father. So, what exactly makes the 1984 Lincoln penny so special? It's all about a minting error, specifically, double die obverse. That means Lincoln's face, especially the jawline and neck, appears doubled or shadowed, due to a rare misalignment when the die was created. These aren't just collector's items, they're time-stamped miracles of U.S. mint history. The D mint mark tells us it came from Denver, and 1984 was a hot year for errors slipping through the cracks. Today, depending on condition, this coin can fetch hundreds to thousands of dollars, especially if it's uncirculated or near perfect. But here's the part that stings. Countless people have spent these coins without ever knowing. At yard sales. In vending machines, even tossed into fountains for luck. One woman in Ohio unknowingly donated a shoebox full of rare error pennies, including several 1984 double dies, to a school fundraiser. They sold for face value, just 1 cent a piece. Don't let that be your story. Here's how to know if your 1984 penny is the one. Look for the D mint mark right under the date. Check Lincoln's chin and neck. If you see a clear doubling, you've got something special. Look under good light or use a magnifier. The doubling is subtle but unmistakable. Condition matters. Shiny, uncirculated coins are worth the most. If you think you've got one, don't clean it. That can lower its value. Instead, have it authenticated through PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, or a reputable local coin dealer. These professionals can grade it, certify it, and help you unlock its true value. So, before you toss out that dusty jar of old change in the garage, before you let your grandkids use those coins for gumballs, take a closer look. That little copper penny might just be your piece of American history, and maybe even a ticket to a long-awaited dream. What if I told you that a single penny, one you might have picked up off the floor of your childhood bedroom, could be worth thousands today? Yes, a simple copper coin, dated 1986, with a tiny detail missing, is now one of the most mysterious and valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. Let me take you back. It was a quiet Sunday morning in Ohio, 1993. An elderly gentleman named Walter, recently retired, sat on his porch with a dusty old cigar box, the kind his father used to stash loose change in after work during the 50s. Walter wasn't a collector, just sentimental. The coins reminded him of grocery runs with his mom, soda machines that clinked and hummed, a slower, warmer time. As he flipped through those pennies, many worn, most forgotten, one caught his eye. 1986, but something was off. No mint mark. Odd, he thought. Still, he tossed it back and went on with his day. 2 decades later, his grandson, now a collector, found that same penny in Walter's belongings, and nearly dropped it. It was that penny, the one that never should have existed. The reveal, the truth. You see, most 1986 Lincoln cents were struck either in Philadelphia, no mint mark, or Denver, D mint mark. But here's the catch: by 1985, Philadelphia had reliably started placing a P mint mark on most denominations, except the penny. That continued until 2017. So, a 1986 no mint mark penny isn't immediately unusual, until you look closer. Some of these pennies have been identified as error coins, struck using a reverse die meant for another year, or missing specific design details. In extremely rare cases, misalignment, die breaks, or odd planchet flaws have turned them into high-value anomalies. In pristine condition. These oddballs have fetched hundreds to thousands at auctions. Collectors believe hundreds of these were unknowingly spent in candy shops, parking meters, and vending machines throughout the late 80s and early 90s. A woman in Florida once posted online, "I remember tossing a weird 1986 penny in the tip jar. It didn't look right, wish I'd kept it." That same kind of coin, verified today, could pay off a credit card, or maybe even a vacation you've been dreaming of. Here's how to check if you've got one of these rare 1986 Lincoln cents. Mint mark. No mint mark under the date, but not worn off, truly absent, sharp details and strong luster, suggesting it was rarely circulated. Any oddities, doubling, off-center strike, or missing design elements? Look closely at Lincoln's bust. Any distortions, cracks, or missing parts? That's key. If you think you've got a match, don't guess. Send it to PCGS or NGC, two of the most trusted coin grading services in the world. You can also bring it to a certified local coin dealer, but always check their reputation first. That old coffee can in your attic, the drawer you haven't opened since your kids were in school, that's not just pocket change. It's a time capsule, and inside might be a treasure from your past that could change your future. What if a penny from your childhood, something you barely noticed, could now be worth thousands of dollars? That's not a fantasy. It's real. And it all comes down to a tiny detail missing from a coin you might have sitting in your kitchen drawer right now, the mysterious 1987 no mint mark Lincoln cent. Let me take you back to 1992. A retired steelworker named Harold was going through his late wife's belongings. Quiet, rainy afternoon, just memories and old keepsakes. Tucked inside a rusted Maxwell House coffee can full of pennies from decades past, he found something strange. A 1987 penny. Seemed ordinary, until he noticed something was missing. No S. Just Lincoln. Just the date. He didn't know it then, but Harold was holding one of the rarest cents to ever slip through the fingers of millions of Americans. That 1 cent would later be appraised for over $3,000. A whisper of history. A mistake that became a treasure. So, what makes this coin so rare? In 1987, every Lincoln cent was supposed to have a mint mark. A tiny D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Even Philadelphia pennies usually carry one by then, but a few, very few, slipped out with no mint mark at all. That means they were likely struck with old 1986 dies, a transition year error, and in the world of coin collecting, errors aren't mistakes, they're miracles. There's a heartbreaking truth to this. Most people spent these pennies without a second glance. A young mother in Ohio once shared her regret, "My son had this weird 1987 penny, no mint mark. He was 12. He used it on a gumball. We laughed about it, now I can't stop thinking about it." Thousands of dollars, gone in the turn of a vending machine knob. Don't let that be your story. Here's what you need to look for. Date, 1987, clear and crisp mint mark. Look under the date, there should be no letter condition. The sharper the detail on Lincoln's face and the wheat lines, if visible, the more valuable it can be. Magnet test. A real cent isn't magnetic. If it sticks, it's not copper. Don't clean it. Scratches kill value. Think you've got the real deal? Send your coin to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll certify its authenticity and condition. Or take it to a reputable coin dealer. Just make sure it's someone with a track record. No garage sales or flea markets. What if a single penny from your childhood, one you held in your tiny hand back in 1987, could be worth thousands today? It's not just a coin. It's a forgotten story. And it might still be sitting in your junk drawer. Back in the fall of 2001, a retired postal worker named Harold from Nebraska was rolling up coins with his granddaughter. It was just a Sunday chore, until one penny caught his eye. A 1987 Lincoln cent. Nothing fancy at first glance. But it felt different. He held on to it. Didn't think much. Years later, a local dealer looked at it and turned pale. That single penny, from a Denver mint batch, had a die error so rare, only a few are believed to exist. Harold's coin? Estimated at over $7,000. Most folks never noticed. They spent them. Lost them. Forgot them. But some pennies, some carry stories too strange to ignore. So what made this 1987 D penny so special? It's all in the errors. The 1987 D Lincoln cent normally isn't rare, unless it has one of the following oddities: misaligned dies causing the design to shift dramatically, doubled dies, especially in Lincoln's ear, date, or the words, "In God We Trust." Off-center strikes, sometimes 5% to 25% off, missing mint mark varieties, extremely rare in this year. Copper-plated zinc planchet anomalies, where the outer layer flakes or reveals striking defects. These aren't your average pocket change cents. These are minting mishaps, and to collectors, they're gold. I once met a gentleman at a flea market. He'd brought in an old coin jar his father left behind. We looked through it together. He laughed at the pennies. Said they were worthless. Just copper memories. I asked to buy one, a 1987 D with odd lettering. He gave it to me for free. I sent it off for grading a week later. It came back as a rare double die, valued at nearly $1,800. He never knew. He never asked. That penny could have paid for a family vacation. Don't let that be your story. Here's what to check if you've got a 1987 D penny. Date must be 1987. Look for the D mint mark below the date, stands for Denver. Check Lincoln's ear and eyes. Doubled lines equals doubled die. Look for off-center design, where Lincoln's bust is shifted, unusual metal color or texture, flaking, bubbles, or missing layers. If it looks strange, don't toss it. Want to be sure? Send your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Or find a reputable coin dealer in your area. Get a second opinion, always. That coffee can on the shelf. The jar by the window. That drawer filled with pennies your father never threw away. It might be holding your next great story. It's not just about value. It's about memory, history, and discovery. What if a single penny from 1988? A coin you might have tossed on the counter without a second thought, could be worth hundreds, even thousands today? And what if I told you that it's missing something so small, it's almost invisible to the naked eye? Picture this, it's 1989. A little boy named Kevin helps his grandpa clean out the garage. Among a handful of old tools and bottle caps, they find a rusty coffee tin full of pennies. Most are ordinary, but one looks a little different. They think nothing of it. Years later, Kevin finds that same coin tucked in a drawer, worn and dull, but familiar. He takes it to a dealer, and learns he's been sitting on a rare 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, one of the ghost coins of modern numismatics. So, why is this coin so special? Most 1988 Lincoln cents were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, or Denver, marked with a D. But here's the twist: a few rare 1988 cents struck in Philadelphia were made using a proof reverse die. That's the design typically reserved for high-quality San Francisco mint coins. That's right, these oddballs feature the reverse design of the 1989 proof penny, on a regular 1988 coin. This tiny detail, the FG initials near the Lincoln Memorial, can make all the difference. It's what sets the 1988 no mint mark reverse of 1989 coin apart. Some have sold for over $2,500, just for one penny. But here's the part that breaks my heart: a woman from Ohio told me she used to roll up her father's coin jars after he passed. One day she noticed a strange penny, no mint mark, odd shine, didn't think much of it. She spent it at the corner store for a soda. That coin might have been worth her entire month's rent. Here's what you need to check if you think you might have one: no mint mark under the date, means it came from Philadelphia. Flip it, look for the designer's initials, FG, Frank Gasparo, near the Lincoln Memorial. If they're bold and closer to the building, it might be the 1989 reverse. Compare it side by side with a normal 1988 penny. If the reverse looks crisper, or just different, it's worth checking. Don't just guess, have it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. Or visit a trusted coin dealer who knows modern varieties. This coin needs expert eyes to confirm. You remember that jar in the back of your kitchen cupboard? The one you've passed by for decades? Don't let your family's quiet treasure go unnoticed. Because sometimes, the smallest things, like a worn penny from your past, carry the biggest stories. What if one forgotten penny, from 1988, sitting in your kitchen drawer right now, was worth thousands of dollars, not because of its shine, but because of a tiny mistake the US Mint never meant to make? Picture this, 1988. Gas was under $1, phones had cords, and you still sent birthday cards in the mail. One afternoon, a young boy named Tommy helped his grandfather clean out the attic. Amid dusty photo albums and old baseball gloves, they found an old coffee can full of pennies. Tommy didn't think much of it. But his grandpa smiled, saying, "You never know which ones are special." They sorted them together, a quiet moment between generations. Years later, Tommy remembered that day, when he saw a coin collector on TV talking about a rare 1988 D penny that could be worth over $3,000. So, what makes this 1988 D Lincoln penny so rare? It's all in the tiniest detail. A minting error known as a reverse design mix-up. Back in 1988, the Denver Mint, that's the D mark, accidentally used a proof die from 1989, meaning the lettering on the reverse, back side, looks like it came from a different year. Specifically, this rare coin has the 1988 obverse, front, but the 1989 reverse, and only a small batch ever slipped through. Collectors call it the 1988 DRDV 006, and when found in great condition, it's a treasure worth hundreds, even thousands. Imagine this: someone once had this coin, in perfect shape, and used it to buy a pack of gum. They had no idea they just spent a small fortune. These stories are real. Some were thrown in tip jars. Others cashed in at banks. Coins lost in couch cushions, never to be seen again. Don't let that be your story. Want to know if you have the treasure in your jar? Look closely at the G in FG, the designer's initials. If it's curved, not straight, it might be the rare variety. Examine the lettering in America. The spacing and style should look more modern, like on a 1989 coin. Use a magnifying glass or your phone's zoom. The difference is subtle but worth it. If you think you found something special, don't guess. Get it verified. You can send your coin to PCGS or NGC, two of the most trusted coin grading services in the world. Or better yet, take it to a reputable local coin dealer. Just make sure they know what the 1988 D reverse variety looks like. That old jar on your shelf, or the drawer where you keep loose change. It might not just be clutter. It might hold a piece of history, a moment frozen in copper, a gift from the past to your future, because the rarest treasures are often hiding in plain sight. What if a single penny from your childhood, the kind you handed to a candy store clerk without a second thought, was now worth hundreds, maybe even thousands? This isn't just pocket change. This is the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny, and it might be sitting quietly in your kitchen drawer, just waiting to change your life. In 2002, a retired mechanic named Earl from Indiana was sorting through a jar of old coins with his grandson. Nothing fancy, just an evening of stories and clinking copper. Then, tucked between two rusted nickels, Earl found it, a 1989 penny with no mint mark. He almost tossed it aside. But something told him to take a closer look. Old photos fade in of coin jars, old hands holding coins, a grandson smiling. A quick visit to a local coin show changed everything. That penny? It was a rare minting error, one of only a small handful known. Earl walked out with a check that helped pay off his mortgage. All from a coin he nearly gave away. So what makes the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special? Normally, pennies from Philadelphia are struck without a mint mark. That's not unusual. But in 1989, all coins were supposed to follow a specific minting protocol. That year, an extremely small batch of pennies were struck with an error in the die, and missing key features, like the designer's initials, FG, on the reverse side. These aren't your average, no mint mark, coins. They're production oddities, born from the smallest of mistakes, and now treasured by collectors everywhere. Not long ago, a woman in Kansas unknowingly spent one of these rare coins at a flea market. It later sold at auction for over $3,000. She never knew. Never checked. Never asked. Think of how many rare coins have slipped through our fingers, traded for gum, dropped in vending machines, or forgotten in couch cushions. That sting of regret? It's real. And it's preventable. Here's how to spot the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln cent that could be worth a fortune. There should be no mint mark under the date, common in Philadelphia coins. Flip the coin, check the reverse. Look beneath the Lincoln Memorial. Are the initials, FG, missing? Sharp edges, unusual shine, or off-center strikes may hint at even more value. Think you've found one? Don't rely on guesswork. Get it certified by trusted experts like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and grade your coin professionally. Local coin dealers or coin shows can also offer insights. Just be sure you go to someone reputable. That dusty jar in the kitchen, the shoebox in the attic, the drawer you haven't opened since your kids moved out. There's history hiding there. Stories in copper and zinc. And maybe, your future.